긴 시간 살아가다 보니까 점점 한 살 한 살 먹을수록 좀 더
Lovely viewers, get comfortable because today we are diving into one of the most touching, emotional, and heartfelt moments that has taken over the internet, melted the hearts of millions of fans, and reminded everyone why the love story of Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo feels like something written straight out of a fairy tale. Imagine being in a star-studded event, lights shimmering, fans screaming, cameras flashing, and then the moment comes when Lee Min-ho, the global superstar, takes the microphone. What starts as a normal acceptance speech quickly turns into an emotional roller coaster that left everyone speechless and teary-eyed, because he chose that very stage, that very moment, to dedicate his words to the woman who has become his greatest source of strength, Song Hye Kyo. Can you imagine the audience's reaction? Some gasped, others held their breaths, and many fans couldn't even contain their emotions as the handsome actor, often known for his calm and charming demeanor, began to tear up on stage. Yes, you heard that right. Lee Min-ho, who has stolen hearts with his strong portrayals on screen, allowed the world to see his vulnerable, raw side. It was not just about awards, fame, or recognition, it was about love, gratitude, and a kind of honesty that you rarely see in the entertainment world. Viewers watching live, fans scrolling through clips later, and even celebrities present at the event couldn't stop talking about it. It wasn't just a speech, it was a moment in history. Lovely viewers, let's picture this together. Lee Min-ho steps up, holding his award. The applause is thunderous, but soon it fades as he begins to speak. His voice, steady at first, carries the usual elegance we've come to associate with him. He thanks his fans, his management, and his colleagues. But then there's a pause, a silence that feels different. His eyes glisten and his tone shifts. That's when he says her name, Song Hye Kyo. The audience instantly reacts, with cheers, claps, and even audible ahs echoing through the hall. Min-ho presses his lips together, fighting back tears, but those emotions refuse to be hidden. His voice cracks as he speaks about her, about what she means to him, and about how she has stood by him through thick and thin. Now, dear viewers, imagine being Song Hye Kyo at that moment. Cameras quickly zoom in on her, sitting gracefully in the audience, dressed elegantly as always. At first, she tries to keep her composure, smiling softly. But as his words pour out, her eyes shine with unshed tears. She places a hand over her heart, as if trying to calm the wave of emotions hitting her. Fans nearby say they could feel her emotions even without words. It wasn't just a casual mention of her name. It was Lee Min-ho laying bare his soul for the world to see. He wasn't acting. This wasn't a script. This was love, gratitude, and vulnerability displayed in front of millions. Fans online quickly took to social media, flooding platforms with comments like, "I have never seen Min-ho this emotional before. This is the kind of love we all dream of, and Song Hye Kyo must feel so special right now." Clips of the moment spread like wildfire, trending not only in Korea but worldwide. The hashtag Lee Min-ho for Song Hye Kyo dominated timelines, and countless edits of the speech paired with romantic music began circulating within hours. People from all walks of life, even those who might not follow Korean dramas closely, couldn't help but be moved. Lovely viewers, doesn't this remind us all of something? That no matter how successful someone is, no matter how loved they are by millions, at the end of the day, it's the people closest to their hearts who truly matter. And for Lee Min-ho, that person is Song Hye Kyo. This speech wasn't about pleasing fans or creating headlines. It was a raw, genuine confession of appreciation. He said words like, "Without her, I wouldn't be the man I am today. She has been my guiding light, my strength when I felt weak, and my inspiration when I doubted myself." Can you hear how personal, how intimate those words sound? The audience, of course, responded with roaring applause, some even wiping away tears. Song Hye Kyo herself, unable to hold back any longer, let a few tears slide down her cheeks. And do you know what made it even more magical? Lee Min-ho noticed. In the middle of his trembling voice, his eyes searched for her in the crowd, and when he found her, his expression softened. Fans noticed that he smiled through his tears, almost as though her presence gave him the courage to continue. What do you think, lovely viewers? If you had been there, sitting in that audience, would you have cried with them? Would you have cheered louder? It's these human moments that remind us why we adore these stars, not just for their on-screen performances but for the real emotions that connect us all. And let's not forget the aftermath. Interviews following the event were filled with questions about the speech. Reporters asked Song Hye Kyo how she felt, and though she remained gracefully modest, saying, "It was very touching," the sparkle in her eyes revealed so much more. Lee Min-ho, on the other hand, was asked why he chose to make such a heartfelt dedication on stage, and he simply said, "Because she deserves it. Because the world should know how much she means to me." Lovely viewers, isn't that the kind of response that makes your heart melt instantly? Fans even began comparing this moment to iconic love gestures in history. Some called it a modern-day fairy tale, while others said, "We are witnessing the real-life K-drama." Memes, fan art, and even fictional scenarios popped up everywhere, but one thing remained clear. This speech was not fiction. It was a raw piece of truth that left everyone moved. Think about it. How often do we see celebrities showing such unfiltered emotion? Especially someone like Lee Min-ho, who has always carried himself with grace and poise. To see him tremble, to see him tear up, and to see him pour his heart out was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And Song Hye Kyo, sitting there receiving that love, will forever remember that night as much as we do. Lovely viewers, let me ask you, do you think this moment will change the way people see them as a couple? Will it strengthen their public image, showing the world that theirs is not just a relationship of convenience or publicity, but a deep, genuine bond? Many fans believe so. In fact, some have already declared it one of the most romantic moments in Korean entertainment history. And here's something to think about. If you were Song Hye Kyo, sitting there in that glamorous dress, surrounded by flashing cameras, yet hearing words meant only for your heart, wouldn't you feel like the luckiest person alive? That's the magic of true love. It doesn't care about the stage, the spotlight, or the noise. Speaks directly to the heart. Now, dear viewers, let's take a moment to appreciate the impact this has on their fans. For so many people who believe in love, who look up to these two as role models, this speech is not just entertainment, it's inspiration. It shows that even in an industry often criticized for its superficiality, there can be authenticity, vulnerability, and real connection. Fans around the world have shared how this moment gave them hope, how it made them believe in love again, and how it brought a smile to their faces during tough times. Isn't that powerful? And let's be honest, part of the reason this is so emotional is because of their history. Both Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo have gone through their own journeys, their own ups and downs. To see them now, together, supporting one another, and to witness Lee Min-ho's public declaration of love and gratitude, feels like the culmination of everything they've been through. It's not just about the present. It's about their past struggles, their resilience, and their decision to move forward together. Lovely viewers, this is why moments like these stay with us. They go beyond the glitz and glamour. They remind us that celebrities too are human, that they love, they cry, and they cherish the people who matter most. And for us, as fans, being able to witness that honesty feels like being part of something larger, something almost sacred. So here's a question for you, dear viewers. Where were you when you first saw the clip of Lee Min-ho's emotional speech? Were you scrolling late at night? Did you stumble upon it trending online? Or were you lucky enough to watch it live? Share your memories, because these are the kinds of moments we will be talking about for years to come. And with that, let's hold on to this powerful reminder. Love, when expressed with such vulnerability and courage, has the power to touch millions. Lee Min-ho's tears on stage were not a weakness. They were a testament to the strength of his feelings, the depth of his love, and the courage it takes to show the world your true self. Many thought that was it. That Lee Min-ho had delivered his heartfelt words, wiped away his tears, and walked off stage. But no, that night carried even more magic. And those who were present will never forget how the energy in the room shifted. As the applause went on, Lee Min-ho didn't leave the stage right away. He stood there, clutching his award tightly, his eyes still fixed on Song Hye Kyo. The cameras captured every moment, and fans later replayed that footage again and again, analyzing each glance, each smile, each tear. It was as though the world disappeared around them, and in that crowded hall full of flashing lights and people, it was just him and her. Do you know that kind of silence that feels deafening? That's what it felt like, as though their hearts were speaking louder than any words. And Song Hye Kyo, lovely viewers, what a vision she was. Many in the audience later described her as glowing, almost ethereal, as she responded with the gentlest of smiles, her eyes brimming with tears. She didn't need to say anything. Sometimes love is silent, yet louder than any declaration. That small nod she gave him, that tender look, told the entire world. She understood, she felt the same, and she cherished his words deeply. Fans immediately pointed out that this wasn't just a one-sided moment. It was a shared emotional exchange, a conversation without words, a memory carved forever in both their lives. And here's where it gets even more emotional, lovely viewers. After leaving the stage, Lee Min-ho was seen backstage, surrounded by staff and reporters. He was still visibly emotional, wiping his eyes as he tried to compose himself. But the moment Song Hye Kyo entered that space, everything shifted. Witnesses say she walked up to him gracefully, gently touched his arm, and whispered something only he could hear. Some fans claim they caught a glimpse of his smile returning at that instant, the kind of smile you only show when the person you love makes everything better. Isn't that beautiful? To know that even after the spotlight faded, the comfort of love was waiting for him. Fans online began piecing together these behind-the-scenes reports. They noticed how his demeanor instantly calmed once she was by his side. They noticed how, in photos taken moments after, he held her hand, not caring about the cameras, not caring about the noise, just focusing on her. And lovely viewers, doesn't that make your heart swell? It's a reminder that the truest love isn't shown only in public. It continues quietly, tenderly, even when no one is watching. And the reactions. Oh, the reactions were endless. Some fans said they cried watching the live stream, while others admitted they replayed the speech dozens of times just to feel that rush of emotion again. Comments flooded in like, "I can't stop crying. This is the most genuine thing I've ever seen from a celebrity," and Lee Min-ho has set the standard for love. Global media outlets picked up the story too, with headlines like, "Lee Min-ho's tears for Song Hye Kyo move the world," and "A love confession that made history." Lovely viewers, let me ask you, how do you feel when you see such raw vulnerability from someone as admired as Lee Min-ho? Do you feel like it brings you closer to him, reminding you that behind the fame, he is just a man deeply in love? Many fans expressed that very sentiment, saying they felt connected to him in a way they never had before. And what about Song Hye Kyo? Seeing her in that moment, accepting his love with grace, showed us all the depth of their bond. What makes this even more touching is how this moment will live on in their journey together. For years, whenever fans talk about their love story, they will bring up that speech, that night, and those tears. It has already become a reference point, a chapter in their public romance that nobody will ever forget. Just like iconic movie scenes or drama finales, this was real life creating its own unforgettable script. And if we think about it more deeply, lovely viewers, doesn't this also challenge the way we see love in the entertainment industry? So often we hear stories of relationships falling apart under pressure, of public scrutiny destroying bonds. But here we are witnessing the opposite. A public declaration so strong, so heartfelt, that it seems to be fortifying their relationship rather than weakening it. Isn't that powerful? Now, imagine with me, years from now, perhaps during a future anniversary or another award ceremony, someone will bring up this moment. Maybe Lee Min-ho himself will recall it, laughing softly about how emotional he was that night. Maybe Song Hye Kyo will smile, saying, "That was the moment I knew just how much he meant it." And fans, oh, we will still be here, replaying that clip, feeling the same goosebumps, the same warmth in our hearts. Lovely viewers, let me turn this to you. What would you say to Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo if you had the chance? Would you thank them for showing such honesty? Would you tell them how their love story gives you hope? Imagine writing them a letter, pouring your emotions, telling them how that single speech touched you personally. Because isn't that what love does? It doesn't just affect the people in it. It radiates outwards, touching everyone who witnesses it. And speaking of witnessing, the global reach of this moment was incredible. Fans from Africa, Europe, Asia, and the Americas all shared the clip, translated it into multiple languages, and celebrated it as though it were their own love story. People who had never even watched a K-drama before became curious. drawn in by the sincerity of what they saw. That's how powerful this was. It crossed borders, cultures, and languages. But, lovely viewers, here's the most important thing. This wasn't just about the spectacle. This was about humanity. A man stood on stage, bared his soul, and reminded us all that love is worth expressing. That tears are not weakness, but proof of how deeply we care. That no matter how famous, how successful, or how admired you are, what matters most is who holds your heart. So let's keep this moment alive together. Let's keep talking about it, sharing it, and celebrating it. Because when we do, we're not just celebrating Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo, we're celebrating the power of love itself. When I asked if we should keep talking about this, celebrating it, and keeping the memory alive, I wasn't exaggerating, because love stories like these don't fade away. They become part of our collective memory, our shared cultural treasure. And what makes this particular speech so unforgettable is not just that Lee Min-ho cried on stage, but that his tears spoke louder than words. Tears are universal. Whether you're in Seoul, Lagos, New York, or Manila, when you see someone cry from a place of love and sincerity, your own heart feels it too. That's why this moment connected with people across the world. It bypassed language, bypassed culture, and went straight into the soul. Now imagine how fans must have felt the next day. Social media didn't sleep. Hashtags were still trending. Edits of the speech filled TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Some fans even added subtitles in multiple languages so that everyone could understand every word Lee Min-ho said. Others slowed down the footage to highlight the exact moment his voice cracked, or the second song Hye Kyo's tears rolled down her cheeks. Isn't it incredible, lovely viewers, how technology allows us to relive moments like this endlessly, almost as if we were there every single time? And then there were the fan letters. Yes, many fans wrote open letters online, addressed to both Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo, thanking them for sharing such a genuine piece of themselves. One fan wrote, "Your love has given me hope after years of heartbreak. Watching you cry on stage made me believe again." Another fan said, "I didn't think celebrities could be so vulnerable. Thank you for reminding us that love is real." Lovely viewers, doesn't that make you realize how much impact one honest moment can have? But let's not forget, beyond the fans, this also resonated deeply with other celebrities. Several actors and actresses posted subtle responses, praising Lee Min-ho's courage and Song Hye Kyo's grace. Some even said they were inspired to be more open about their own feelings. Imagine that ripple effect, lovely viewers. How one moment of vulnerability can inspire an entire industry to embrace authenticity. Doesn't that sound like a revolution of the heart? And now, let's think about Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo in the privacy of their home after that event. Picture them sitting together, away from the cameras and the noise, perhaps drinking tea late at night, reflecting on what had just happened. Can't you just imagine Song Hye Kyo saying softly, "You didn't have to cry like that in front of everyone," and Lee Min-ho replying with a smile, "I couldn't help it. That's how much you mean to me." Lovely viewers, don't you agree that those quiet, intimate conversations are just as powerful as the big, public moments? What makes this continuation even sweeter is how fans are already imagining the future. Some are saying this speech will go down in history as a prelude to even greater milestones. An engagement announcement, a wedding, maybe even a family. People are holding on to this moment as evidence that their love story is only just beginning to bloom in the public eye. And who knows, lovely viewers, maybe years from now, when they share new milestones, we will look back and say, "Remember the tears on stage? That was the moment we all knew their love was unshakable." And here's something I want to ask you directly. If you were to write this love story as a drama, where would this scene fit? Would it be the grand finale where the hero bears his soul? Or would it be the pivotal moment in the middle, the turning point that makes the heroine realize how deeply she is loved? Isn't it fascinating how real life can sometimes outshine even the most perfectly written scripts? Lovely viewers, the beauty of this speech is not only in what was said, but in how it continues to live on in us. It has sparked conversations about love, vulnerability, courage, and authenticity. It has inspired artwork, music, and countless fan tributes. It has brought joy to those who needed it, tears to those who miss love, and hope to those still searching for it. And above all, it has reminded us that even in a world full of noise, true emotions can still break through and touch millions. So let's continue keeping this flame alive. Let's continue talking about it, cherishing it, and passing it on. Because the night Lee Min-ho cried on stage for song Hye Kyo was not just their story, it became our story too.